In this video, I want to talk about how birth control ruined my life. What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Autumn if you're new here. And today I'm going to be talking all about birth control because I find that this is a topic that people don't usually talk about, but I think it's very beneficial and I want to help somebody that may want to get on birth control, the certain type that I was on, and why you should not. Disclaimer, this is my thoughts, my opinions, and if this worked well for you, great. If it didn't, I understand completely because that was me and I was also in the same position that you are in. But yeah, so in this video I'm going to be talking about the pros, the cons, the side effects, what happens like after you get off of the birth control and all of that. So without carrying along this intro, don't forget to subscribe and check out my Instagram, AutumnGTV_, and let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is when I actually got my period. It was honestly like 5th or 6th grade, and I remember getting it randomly. My mom already talked to me about like, you know, periods and whatnot, but I remember when it happened, I didn't really think that it was going to be anything more than what it was, but just a period. But once I got it, I realized that my cramps were absolutely horrible and I just felt like bad all the time, to where once I got into middle school, when I was on my period, I would have to actually go home and leave, and my mom would have to pick me up, or I couldn't even go to school half the time because that's how bad my cramps were. I tried like heating pads and like pampering and all that stuff, but it was just horrible, like dealing with that like growing up. And I remember having such a heavy period. So when you're that young, you know, it's kind of hard to digest anything, and you know, my mom basically just told me, you know, deal with it, but it was like so bad to where she would have to like leave work, come pick me up type situation. So once I got older and I was in high school, my mom decided to allow me to get on birth control, and I was actually going to get on the birth control that she was on, which is Depo-Vera. Usually people call it Depo, and it's when you get a shot in your hip every 3 months. And I got on that birth control because I knew it was effective and she wouldn't get her period. Like, she probably got her period once every blue moon, which was like really, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was basically like never, but you'll get that 1-2 periods here and there. And I got on it and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Like, mind you, I was in 9th grade when this happened, so I was like, this is great. I'm not getting my period anymore. I don't have to deal with cramps. Like, I'm living my best life. Like, I don't have to worry about the things that other girls complain about. And I thought this was perfect, especially because I was a varsity cheerleader in high school as well as ROTC, so I was very active and it just seemed very beneficial at the time. So I remember growing up, you know, me and my husband now, I used to have mood swings ridiculously, temper tantrums, all that stuff growing up because I just felt like I couldn't control my emotions. And a lot of the times I never realized, well, what's the cause of why I feel so intensely upset, angry, or anything like that. And I didn't understand like the feelings that I was feeling, and it just didn't feel right. But I, you know, whatever, right? You know, you're growing up, you think it's normal, puberty, you're growing, high school relationships, you all know how that works. So over time in high school, I never once wanted my period. I never thought about it. I never thought. My husband back then was my boyfriend. He used to tell me to get off. It's not natural, it's not good for you. He would send me like side effects and all that stuff and let me know that I should get off of it. But of course, I'm like, no way, I'm not getting pregnant. I'm not even having that opportunity. Or I'm also not gonna have my period because like, I just don't wanna live that moment anymore. Well, as I got older and I was in college, I realized, wait a minute. And I was like doing some research because I don't know, something sparked it. I think I watched a video on YouTube, like just so happened to pop up. And they said that if you're on it long enough, it could mess up your insides so much, like your hormones or whatever it was. I don't remember, look it up. And it said that you could not have kids. And I was like, hold up, I want to have children one day. I want to have a lot of kids. So I was like, this shouldn't be like this. If it's like to where it can permanently not allow you to have kids, it was sparking something in me that said this isn't right. So of course, as college, you know, the first 2 years of college went, I was like, nah, you know. But then I realized my last part of college, I was like, man, you know, I kind of really want a period because I want to kind of like let my body cleanse itself. My husband kind of convinced me once we were married already. And I got married last year in October 17th in 2018. I started getting convinced and I said, okay, but I never did it. And I actually went one more time when I wasn't supposed to go, and I said, okay, January of 2019, this year, I had my next appointment and I said, you know what, I'm not gonna go, and that's gonna be the 3 months of me just not going, and I'm gonna be off of it, and I'm not gonna tell my doctor or anything like that, because she wasn't like my designated doctor. I just said I wasn't gonna go, and then that's just gonna be me not going anymore for my depot shot. So I said, okay, you know, like whatever. So this is in January, and that was, the appointment was like second week of January if I'm not mistaken. The same what is it called, the same exact month in January I got my first period. So this varies from like different people. Some people say it takes a long time to get your period. Some people say it happens immediately. For me, it did happen the same month. I mean, I was like, oh great, you know, I was so happy. So for the first 3 months, I got my period and it came about the same time. And then the fourth time that it came, the fourth month, it was irregular and it came early. I was like, okay, whatever. The next month, it came the same time that it was the fourth month. So the fifth month, it came at that early time. And I was like, okay, this was like the second week. Oh, when the week happens after my period, and then I get it again. So I had 2 periods in 1 month, the fifth month, which I was very upset. It was like, what? Literally a week. They say it's because of like stress and stuff. I didn't feel overly stressed, but I guess, you know, my body was stressed out. So that was the 5th month, and then the 6th month it came like normal or whatever. It was just late by a few days, and I was like freaking out, you know, like, oh my god, I'm pregnant, but I wasn't. And then yeah, so now I should be getting like next week, if I'm not mistaken, next weekend. So yeah, and I already feel like the period symptoms that happened before starting, so whatever. That's where I'm at right now. But I have been getting my period every month. Sadly, I got my period twice in 1 month, but you know, it's okay. So yeah, that's kind of my story, a little bit background. But I wanted to tell you about some of the benefits. So the benefits of being on birth control, the birth control I was on at least, you don't get your period, and you know, you get to live your best life all the time. You don't have to carry pads, you don't have to worry about smelling, you don't have to worry about nothing like that, right? But some of the cons is that you don't get your period. It messes up with your hormones. It makes you a little crazy. I mean, it made me, you know, everyone's different, but I can relate. I think actually all women can relate that it messed up your hormones, made you very emotional and a little bit out of control. Another con is it made me gain weight. A lot of people say it doesn't make you gain weight, but honestly, definitely. I stayed around the same weight. Every so often I would actually go up in weight, but I stayed, like, I could not lose under, actually no, I could not lose over 5 pounds. It seemed like I was in such a plateau forever, unless it was a situation in a period of time where I wasn't eating. I was on some type of diet or whatever that I was doing, and I wasn't eating a lot of food, and I was on a super calorie deficit. I was eating like 1 meal and 2 shakes and like 2 snacks a day. It was like rough, okay? Don't recommend it because it's not sustainable, and it sucks because you think you're doing something, but it's not sustainable. Don't do diets like that. Usually it's like MLMs, whatever. You know what I'm talking about, multi-channel network, so MLMs. But yeah, and over the course of time, I gained so much weight. Like, I ended up being at my highest weight at one point, 174.4. What? And you know, my husband's like really honest with me, and he told me that I was gaining weight, but of course I didn't really want to listen, and I didn't believe it, and I didn't really like take the time to look at myself and say, oh yeah, I'm gaining weight. And I was living my best life, and once we got married, I was eating so much food. We're eating out so much for months and months, and I gained that much weight. And I noticed once I got off of birth control, it was so much easier for me to lose the weight, and it seemed like it was just flying off, essentially. Not necessarily, because like I'm at like 159, 160, around that. I keep fluctuating right now because I'm not like really trying to actively lose weight at a very fast, rapid pace. I'm doing it in a gradual, and I'm trying to just enjoy my life. I'm tired of looking at food as a problem, so I'm kind of in that like mindset, trying to like fix my thoughts around food. Anyways, but yeah, so over time it definitely made me gain weight, because I was always like 130s, around like 130s and stuff, and all of a sudden I gained like 40 pounds. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, and that was since And you know, it was crazy because I think it was 2018 in April, I was looking really good. I was like 140 something. So you see how fast, just like that, last year in April, you just gain so much weight, you don't even realize it. So I wanted to talk about the when I like got off process. So when I got off, it was a situation to where I had lots of mood swings, very emotional. I'm talking about I make dinner and I don't think it's good and I start crying at the table. Like, I mean, I know there's like emotions when it comes to like periods and whatnot, but like I was just getting like very angry, fits of anger, and not being able to control myself. And like my husband was really going through a stage where it was like horrible because I could not control my emotions. Like my body was trying to adapt to the hormones again, like natural hormones, and trying to adapt to being normal. And it was a very hard process. Honestly, I still go through things, I'm not gonna lie, and you know, it's been months and months, but you know, I think it's gotten so much better because I was like a force to be reckoned with, okay? And I just feel like now it's becoming to like, you know, ease itself out, and I'm feeling a lot better about myself, and feeling motivated again, and feeling very confident in my body. And I really like that feeling, you know? And I like the cleansing process of a period. Like, I really be feeling like death on my period still. I'm getting used to understanding the fact of how I'm gonna feel, so now it's not like oh my gosh, it's just kind of like normal. I know I'm gonna feel horrible, so I kind of like expect it. I like the fact that I'm cleansing my body, and that's just a simple fact. That's natural, that's how it should be. You shouldn't have no chemical, or I mean, you guess you can call it a drug, going into your body every 3 months to stop your period and stop these symptoms, when this is what your body is supposed to naturally, you know, go through. So it's like the cleansing process for a woman. You know, you should be blessed that you are a woman and you would want to go through that. I mean, sometimes I know like people go through like horrible, trust me, my flow is extremely heavy and I be going through it, and I just take my Pamprin in the morning, start the day, and I just go through the day, and I just know what to expect. So I think that's why I handle it a lot better now as the months go, and I'm like dealing with it. But at first I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this, couldn't get out of bed, you know. But now I'm just trying to figure out ways around that. Overall, I don't really recommend birth control whatsoever, at least not like these type of birth controls. I mean, I know there's like natural ways. Basically you like take your temperature and it tells you when you're ovulating and stuff like that, but it's not like a drug that you put in your body. It's just like, of course it's not going to be 100% accurate, but it sounds way better for them telling you, ooh, you're ovulating right now, compared to, oh no, you're fine type thing. So whatever, do your research. This is all my opinion, you know, just like I said before, but I don't recommend it because it definitely did change my body and change the way my mind is and stuff like that. I think you should have a cycle. I think you should cleanse yourself. And yeah, basically that's everything that I had to say about that. Overall, I think the best option is to look into like period stuff. And there's actually like a girl on Instagram, she is very knowledgeable on periods, like that's like her expertise. Her name is Claire Baker, if I'm not mistaken, and I think she's from the UK, but she has taught me so much about my period. I watched a podcast episode on the Gold Digger podcast with Jenna Kutcher, and it really taught me a lot. There's basically like 4 stages of your period, and I think once you learn that stage and that like will that she has, you will really be able to conquer your period. And that's like her whole mission, is to inform women on the stages of your period and what you should and should not do during those stages. So yeah, it's like really good. You should definitely listen to it, check her out, she's really good. But yeah, so that's just everything that I want to talk about with my birth control experience. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments below if you are on birth control, if you want to get off, or if you still want to get on birth control. Let me know and I'll just, you know, chat with you in the comment section. Thank you so much guys for watching this video, and watch my last video. If I'm not mistaken, it was a What I Eat in a Day 2019. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.